Welcome, everyone, to Bahrain Advanced Toastmasters Club meeting. It's not an actual meeting, it's our OiG, which is Old is Gold meeting, number 53. I'll not speak so much about OiG. I'll just behave and act as my role in the Sergeant Arm. So for me as Sergeant Arm, I don't really have too many rules and regulations for all of you to follow, only few ones. When you open your camera, it's always better to smile. Let me look at everyone now, whether, President is smiling. Dr. Sahar, yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Raul. Shukri is looking for his slides. He's not yet smiling. Yeah, he is now smiling. Dr. Widad is also looking for something. Yeah, she's smiling. Oh, Parish, I'm worried about you.
I'm
You're
looking for the
smiling, but you're
background.
also driving. So just be careful.
I'm not
That
driving
takes me.
actually. It's my wife. It's my
Since
wife
your
is
wife,
driving, so I'm.
this is called delegation. This is leadership to the core. Thank you so much, and to your wife. So that takes me to the second rule. If you are wanting to open your camera, which is something I would really appreciate, we don't want to see your house. So when you want to move around, you can switch off your camera. That's totally fine. We don't want to see things that you don't want to show us. So that's something that is very nice. Eliza is here as well. Thank you so much, Eliza, for joining. And now I love to practice this habit, or in fact, this is something that is really important for all of us to remember, which is the club mission. So this is the only time where I would allow everyone to unmute themselves and repeat the club mission after me. Is that fine? Great.
Yes.
So if you all unmute and follow my lead. And when I say follow my lead, it's not just verbally, but even when I act it out. So let me see who are those who would be doing it exactly as I wish them to do. So we provide
We provide
a supportive and positive
positive
learning experience in which members are empowered. Okay, I can see most of you are following, which is good. To develop their communication and leadership skills.
to develop
their communication
and leadership skills,
Resulting in greater self-confidence
resulting
in greater self-confidence
and personal growth.
and personal
growth.
Yay! Thank you so much, everyone. We did the
You're
first
most
thing.
welcome.
We did the first thing right. Thank you so much for being an amazing audience. Now you are allowed to mute yourself, keep your camera on, keep your smile on. And with this, I would like to hand the control to our Madam President, the one and only DTM Zahra Al-Mukharri.
Thank you so much, Acting Sergeant at Arm and our lovely Vice President of Education, DTM Khalid Abdullah. Round of applause. Yes, I know we can do it virtually, but he deserves it as he's the one behind all of this organization, preparing the agenda or communicating with the speakers and organizing this special Old is Gold series of webinars. I will start with District 20 Program Quality Director, DTM Abdullah Madan. And of course, we have...
Do you see the future,
our
Madam President?
lovely...
He's CGD, by the way.
He's the CGD, sorry. Yes, inshallah, next year. So he's the Knapcrow Director, and I can see Area 20 Director, Dr. Sahar, and I can see our accredited speakers, most of BAT members and our special guests. Good day to you all and Happy New Year. Welcome to Old is Gold series of webinars, meeting number 53. I will take you through the history of OiG, or what we thought of, the idea behind having the Old is Gold series of webinars. At first, during COVID-19, when the entire world shut down and they decided not to meet because they don't have the option to meet face-to-face or a physical meeting, we chose to connect through Zoom. And of course, those virtual meetings helped us to grow, helped us to communicate and improve our communication and leadership skills. We in Toastmasters, and especially in Bahrain Advanced Toastmasters Club, we always think of the challenges as opportunities to grow. That's why we're here and we are having the 53, meeting number 53. So we've done 52 meetings, successful meetings, and hopefully today you will enjoy it. You will learn a lot from it. And of course, this will help us. We dedicated this special meeting for us as speakers, as champions, especially for the public speaking skills. We will talk about the humorous speech. We will talk about how can we inspire and the impact that we will leave. We will talk about the evaluation skills and of course, how to prepare yourself. Now, before the speakers start to deliver their wonderful ideas, we have the Toastmaster of the day and the panel moderator. She's none other than the immediate past club president. She is a doctor by profession. She is a life coach. And of course, she's none other than Dr. Widad Hijazi. She will be the Toastmaster of the day, the captain of the ship, and the panel moderator. The floor is yours, Dr. Widad.
Thank you very much, Madam President, for your nice introduction. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are all over the world. Our dignitaries, good evening, everyone. You are most welcome to Bahrain Advanced Toastmasters Club and to All Is Gold. Happy New Year for everyone. I'll be the Toastmaster of the day. Widad Hijazi, I will join you. I will be the moderator and I will advise you that if you have any questions to any of the panelists, please share your questions in the chat box, either directly to me or in the public. Before I start, I would like to give you an introduction about Bahrain Advanced Toastmasters Club. Actually, sorry for this, but I'm with you. I just finished my work. I didn't have my break. So Bahrain Advanced Toastmasters Club is a club that was chartered 21 years ago. We celebrated our 20th year last year. It was amazing. It's a club that is advanced. It's not only advanced, we welcome all people who are interested to be Toastmasters. And this year, we are targeting the youngest people because we are capable of helping them to become better. Before we introduce our first panelist, I would like to advise you as a coach and a trainer. And since we are starting a new year, in each time I will speak, please keep with you your pens and papers, write some questions, try to answer them, and to have a better 2026 than 2025. I hope you enjoyed it last year, but we are here with fresh start. The first question, if you'd like to answer, if you'd like to share us on the chat box, that will be amazing. Mention at least 3 things you are grateful for that happened in your life during 2025. This is the first question. As for today, so I will go directly to our first panelist, Speak with Impact. Speak with Impact. He's none other than DTM Mohammed Shukri. And who is Mohammed Shukri? I think we all know him. He's no more than known to all of us. I lost your introduction.
Okay.
He's already introducing himself with tea.
I would like to buy. I'd like to add that introduction to the timer. Can I buy it? The time you're spending in introduction, add to the timer.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, good.
So he's a live speaker. DTA Mohammed Shukri. He helps organizations and individuals build better communication, positive culture, and innovative performance, especially in managing occupational safely and health and industrial sector in general. First, from the Middle East to reach the World Championship of Public Speaking Finals in Washington, D.C. in 2006. In August 2020, DTA Mohammed was awarded the prestigious Accredited Speaker Award by Toastmaster International, making him the 88th globally and the first and only in the Middle East, one and only one, certified transformational leader, MBA in transformational leadership, founder and CEO of Access Training Solutions Cooperation, author of book, You Are the One and Only. The floor is yours, DTA Mohammed Shukri, with your title, Speak with Impact. Speak with Impact, DTA Mohammed Shukri. Now the timer can stop. Let's all give him a big round of applause.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Welcome to everyone. I hope I am audible. Can I check with you, Doctor, at least?
And visible as well. Imagine that.
Yeah, I just forgot that I need also to share audio. So I'm going to share the screen rather than the... Here we go. All right. Teach is a necessity. Please is a sweetness. To persuade is a victory, said by Cicero. Cicero, a philosopher, Roman philosopher. And we can see him here, a portrait of him speaking. It's not about speaking only. Every human activity is measured, the value of every human activity is measured by the outcome and the results it gives. There is no activity any human would do without the outcome or a reason or something he or she will get out of it. And public speaking is no exception. The most ancient art humans have practiced, public speaking, they are practicing it for a reason, a good reason. That reason might be inform people or alter their thinking on the thinking level, move them emotionally, or the most powerful one, persuade them to take action. Of course, or win a contest, a speech contest. Okay, let's not forget that and the theme we are in. In one word, everybody speaks to create impact. There's a problem with this word. The problem is, when it comes to impact from speaking is not guaranteed. You cannot just say, let me speak to them and everything will change. Sorry, no one on earth can guarantee this. Unless speaking is, your speech is attached with some other punishment or consequence, like no salaries, no allowances. Anyway, right? But speaking alone, the impact is not guaranteed. We cannot measure the impact on others. Quantity, quality-wise, we don't know. And the mere fact that someone comes to us after the speech and says, wow, you changed my life, your speech, that is not a solid measure. All right, it's just an impression. Number 3, we don't know who exactly in the audience was impacted and to what degree. People will leave your speech and say, I didn't need that. And some of them said, this is the right time, I wanted to hear this. So you, as a speaker, have no idea who in the room is benefiting and who is not. This ambiguity led to a lot of assumptions in crafting speeches that everybody wants to impact. So speakers craft their speeches based on what they think will work best to impact others. They use many theories, all right? Many experiments by themselves, by others, read books, listen to successful public speakers, quote unquote, attend these seminars, for example, to look for the code to be cracked in creating impact. A lot of cliches, they fly around us without even examining or re-examining them. For example, it's not important what you say. What's important is how you say it. Cliche. Do we just take it and swallow it? We copy someone who's successful. I saw someone who impacted me. Let me copy him and it will work the same. Trial and error. We have a lot of assumptions. We use generalized methods. One size fits all, ignoring the individuality of every speaker. Every speaker has his or her own way of impacting others. And yet we use that same t-shirt, free size. So I'm here, no exception. Again, no matter my profile, it's a humble one, but I will do and give my best. What I'm here to do is what I'm going to present to you, the top 10 tips to make a speech impactful, is based on these are things that are proved, have proved effective across 3 decades. So I'm speaking more than, sorry, I have some cold, 3 decades. So 3, I don't know, maybe 2 generations, 1 generation and a half. Yet they stood the test of time, at least for me, eliminating, censoring all the failures, which are huge. And wide variety of speaking formats, platforms, and contexts. It's not only Toastmasters and contests. So I'm bringing you from a wide variety, not from me, also from those who I trained, coached. It applies to all public speakers seeking meaningful impact. So I remove things that are very specific, exceptional, rare, not uniform. And no, if you're looking for detailed technical aspects, what to do exactly, no. This is not the place for it. The place is detailed workshops, practical ones. And yes, it also applies to speech contests, whatever I'm going to share with you. With this humble introduction, I also need to say something about myself. Why me? I grabbed the microphone in my late teens, not exactly which year, I don't know, but I started as an MC, and I started emceeing voluntarily, like in jazz here and there, all right? And then it didn't stop until today, all right? And when did I join Toastmaster? It was 2004. I was 34. You can do the math. I was 34. 2004, I joined Toastmasters in my company, Aluminium Bahrain, because of the need of the hour for the work. My work as a safety coordinator demanded me to be more effective in convincing, persuading people, getting impact out of people's behaviors and large quantities, large numbers. So I joined Toastmaster Club. It was called ALBA. Immediately, I came to know there's a World Championship of Public Speaking. Immediately, I enrolled the moment I became eligible in the next year. The following year, I managed to reach in 2006 to the World Championship of Public Speaking. This is in Washington. Next year, the following year, I reached to semifinals only in Arizona. So, but then I left my work when I was 40, 2010. And in less than 2 years, I started my speaking career full-time. No Toastmasters. And when I started my speaking career, this was the real thing. Impact was not a choice, nor a luxury. I had to speak with impact like my life depended on it, being the sole provider for my family. And the sole thing I do is speaking and training. I had to create impact, and it wasn't easy to learn the tricks of the trade. And all this is early in my speaking career, full-time, solo. And then came the Accredited Speaker Challenge. At that time in 2020, when I got the Accredited Speaker, I was already a paid speaker, well established, thank God, alhamdulillah. But then the Accredited Speaker Challenge, when you see other workshops, you will know how challenging it was. It challenged a lot of the things I thought were impactful, okay? Some of this will come in our program today. So my gift to you today is the top 10 tips to speak with impact. They are divided into 2 parts. 5 do's, 5 don'ts. The bad news is I can only deliver 5 because of the quantity, all right? I can tell you it was 5 already, not to tell you 10. It is 10, actually. Prepared it fully. But with research, etc., I think I will settle with 5 only, hoping that we can do more. Let's start immediately with the 5 things that worked for me and maximized my impact as a speaker, right? Number 1, speak only about things you have done. No matter how obvious this sounds, it wasn't obvious to me, not to everyone. Remember I told you I started as an MC? When I started as an MC, after some time, I was really good at it, okay? And that's not my picture, by the way. I was way more handsome than him. After some time, I became very attractive as an MC, to the degree people said, you know, we come now to the events because you are the MC. We are not coming mainly for the speaker. Why don't you consider speaking rather than just introducing the speakers as an MC? At that time, my moral compass, the upbringing and my values I was very strict with them. I'm glad until now I hold to a degree that principle. The principle is I made an oath on myself. I will never speak about anything I have not done. And since I haven't done something significant or worth sharing, I will not speak. I will only introduce the speakers, you know? For a decade, I did not jump into speaking until these Toastmasters guys got me a member, became, yalla, you can speak. Yalla, you have a story, all right? Okay. So one rule that stood out for me, I would never speak for something I did not do. You flip this around, it works backwards in your favor. You speak on things you have done, and you will be much more impactful. I don't need to prove this. It is self-explanatory. Even during my accredited speaker project, I told everyone before that I had 5 trials, and I tried all the highest impact speeches, motivational speech. They didn't go through. Once I delivered my safety project that I have applied back in my company, I used it as my subject to apply for world headquarters in Toastmasters International. It worked smoothly. And that project, which I have done in 2009, I brought it back to life and shared it in the structure, etc., etc. That is a project that I have done. I succeeded with it. Guess what? It landed professionally in the eyes of the panels, and the impact. Until today, this speech I give in the health and safety arenas, very impactful. I'm always invited to deliver this. So if you have done something, now the question might come, obviously. So I got my accredited speaker based on a speech on something I have done, okay? So you might ask, what if I didn't do something about what I want to speak about? So what if I didn't do anything regarding the thing I want to speak about? Of course, the answer is simple. Then don't. Don't speak about something you didn't do. You might be afraid, then I will be left with what to speak? I will return this back to you. The good news is you have done a lot of things. Why insist on speaking about the things you have not done? We are fed up with the speakers who are speaking about things they have no experience is. Can't you see the pollution, the noise pollution in the public speaking, in the communication, in the media, in the knowledge industry? Enough. We want people who have done something to show us. You, yourself, if you listen to someone who speaks about shedding 50 kilos in 5 months or in 1 year, but if they didn't lose that, you wouldn't listen to them. Then why you do the same? The good news, everyone has something they have done. So speak about that and leave the rest. I promise you, the good news is if you stick to the things you have done, the impact will be way higher. And when your impact is way higher, people will notice your impact. They want to invite you more because your credibility, your authenticity shoots up and you get more opportunities to speak the exact thing you wanted by talking about things you have not done. So It sounds like a paradox, but I'm talking out of experience. I stick to what I know and what I have done, and I see the impact, and people want to listen more. So, to end this part with a quote by Dale Carnegie, speakers have only 2 reasons to speak. This is my golden rule. I start every public speaking course with it. Either they have studied the subject thoroughly or have experienced what they speak about. Dale Carnegie and his book, and that's my public speaking Bible, his book about public speaking. So, number 1, speak only about things you have done. Number 2, tell a story. I can spend the whole night on this, but people until today, even when I came just now back from Saudi Arabia from a Toastmaster gathering, sir, Mr. Mohammed, TTM Shukri, do we really have to tell a story? I'm really surprised until today this question is asked. I say, of course, no. You don't have to tell a story. Speaking is not equivalent to story. You can take out the story out of your speaking, but run the risk of losing one element in human brain that can only synchronize with one element that you do, which is story. You can remove that gap, keep it open, and rely on everything else or other elements and lose the benefit, the unique benefit that the story gives. So stories are very important. Now, this is a picture of me. I got it because we are in old and gold. Can you remember this day? I recognize some people. This is area contest, okay? And this is a story. This is the speech Baba, okay? Area contest, Division C. Can you see District 79, Division C, okay? I have just won the area contest. The international speech title was Baba. And that speech actually, my cousin Ahmed Shukri helped me. He said, Mohammed, what are you going to talk about in the club level contest? I said, I don't know. I don't have a story. He said, come on, talk to me. What's bothering you? I said, something bothers me in the past. And then when I told him, it sounds like a silly story. He said, Mohammed, you have to speak about this. I said, no. It's so silly. How can I share something? But it's troubling you, bothering you, touched you. I said, yeah. Then you do it. And I followed my mentor, Ahmed Shukri, and it went all the way to the world champion. So, not any story. If you notice, I wrote the word story with 3 T's. In an elaborate workshop, I teach this, and everywhere I go. There are 3 T's that makes your story, the story you pick, most impactful. Not any story, all right? If you want highest impact. Any story that you want your speech to be impactful with has to have 3 things. The first T is, did it touch you? Did this speech, did this story or event or experience touch you? In what way? How did it touch you? Number 2, did it teach you something? Was there a lesson in your life for you? Even if it's personal between you and yourself. And number 3, most importantly, did it transform you? How did it change you? If you have a story, an event in your life that has done all these 3 to you, and they are not many, good news, they are not many. You can remember them. You can explore them, examine them, or you can talk to me. But 3 things in your story will make them impactful. So number 1, if you want to be impactful, tell a story. You must do this. Number 2, an impactful story has these 3 parts, all right? So let's again leave with a quote. Your speech will change no one's life if there is no life in your speech. Those 3 ingredients, I call them in the other workshop, the life in your speech, and how Dr. Widad introduced me a life speaker, because I believe in life speaker. Your speech will, those are the 3 elements of life. If your story touched you, taught you, transformed you, this will bring life on the stage, and when you do that, you are alive, and the live audience will be touched, and lives will be touched. All right. Number 3, moving on, being aware of the time. Say the truth. This is so obvious. Of course, I will say the truth. It sounds obvious. Well, preparing for the world champion, Baba's speech finished in district level. Now I'm going to Washington. I was doing rehearsals in Bahrain. The speech title was cut. And I delivered the rehearsal in one of Bahrain clubs, and everybody was graceful giving me feedback. One Toastmaster approached me and said, Mohammed, why don't you add this detail to your story? It will make it more impactful. I said, sir, but I cannot add this detail because, why not? Because it did not happen. How can I add something that did not happen? And he paused for a moment and looked at me and said, oh, so this story you shared, you mean it's true? Oh my God, I didn't know what to say. Of course it's true. I'm not making it up. Okay, it was a near-death story, but okay, it's so dramatic, but it's true. People, I noticed later on, not through him, God bless him, but through other contestants in years to come, when I was coaching them and examining their speeches, I said, how did this happen? He said, no, it didn't happen, but I have to put it in the speech, or else the speech flow will be not good, sir. Not many people, 1, 2, 3. So I came to know that it is expected for me not to tell the truth. You won't be impactful without the truth, the whole truth. Some people say the truth, modified, cut, exaggerated, Say the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. There is a study. You can search it online. It's called the Spain Project, the scale of positive and negative experience. Listen to the video I'm going to share with you, and please help me and tell me it's audible at least, all right? Because I prepared all right. So I hope you can hear it. It's coming. It's a short.
How many of you have ever heard of the universal law of attraction?
Yes.
All right. How many of you believe in the universal law of attraction?
Can you hear it? Khalid,
Yes,
can you?
yes.
I can see.
Yes,
all right.
yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Listen to this, especially until the end, okay?
Okay, good. Because if you don't, you're about to. Because for 22 years, I never believed in any of that spiritual mumbo jumbo. Until one day, I found a law in the physical universe. It's a law in physics. You might want to write this down. It's called constructive interference. And it says that when two wavelengths of equal length meet, the size of the frequency doubles. Neither Einstein or Newton could originally explain this theory. But what this means is that you can get energy from conversation. You can get energy from what I'm telling you right now. You can get energy from the people around you, or they can take energy away from you. And so I started to go down this spiritual rabbit hole, and I found a research project called the Spain Scale of Emotion, S-P-A-N-E. Researchers were able to take 25,000 subjects and put them in a room, and they were able to measure the frequency leaving the human body. And they were able to isolate the frequency with such accuracy that they could tell the difference between somebody experiencing anger and passion, joy or arousal, elation or despair with that accuracy. And do you know what the most powerful frequency to leave the human body is? The frequency of authenticity. Authenticity is 4,000 times more powerful than love. Do you know when authenticity happens? Authenticity happens when your words are truthful and you believe what you're saying.
Okay, you heard that, right? Authenticity, when your words are truthful and you believe in what you're saying. So can you give me a thumbs up if you find this very compelling or not? I brought you the evidence, right? Right? Beautiful. Here's the spoiler. It is not true. It's a false it's a false claim. I researched it just to double check. Ladies and gentlemen, the Spain project is something different than what this guy is saying. The authenticity is actually not on the Spain scale at all. Authenticity is actually cannot be measured. This is about emotions, positive and negative. The social media and the self-help and few prominent people, publicized and promoted the fact that authenticity is 4,000 times than love. It does not exist in the Spain And yet I brought it here, part of my session, and you fell for it, like I did, actually. Irony, right? Irony. I'm talking about saying the truth, and yet I told you the false thing that we can fall in. This is impact, negative impact. I wanted to remove it, but I said, okay, why not? What is the real scale? There is an authenticity scale, by the way. You can search it. It's by Widad. Several people done this, scientists. And I will give you what is authenticity, how authenticity will be affected by a speaker. This is not about speaking, but in 3 ways. They have 3 scales. Scale number 1. If you want to have an authentic living as a public speaker, then you are behaving in a way that is consistent with your inner experiences. Rings a bell? Sounds familiar? We said this at the beginning, right? Authentic living means behaving in a way that is consistent with your inner experience. Now, replace behaving with speaking. This is the highest level. Medium level, which is negative. If you accept external influence, the degree to which you conform to what the audience expects rather than what is true to you. When you want to do things and say things because the audience wants to hear it, you please their ears and hearts, and rather than what you are true to yourself, this you are starting on a negative scale. And the lowest negative scale on the authenticity scale is self-alienation. You destroy yourself. This is where you feel out of touch with your real self during a performance. Remove performance and replace speaking on the stage. If you are not truthful, you lose the authenticity scale, the high authenticity. I hope by bringing you the false and the right studies, we will stick to saying the truth. And we end with this script from the Bible. All right? What is it? Then Jesus, peace be upon him, said, then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. I don't know about the time, I can't see it, but I'm finishing soon. Number 4, follow your own structure. All right? Follow your own flow of structure. I know there is a specific structure in speaking. Sometimes you have your own. Oh, I'm already on red, Selma. Can I buy 5 minutes? Abdullah Abandi will give me anyway.
Given.
This is myself and dad in India having food. All right? But my story about Baba, may his soul rest in peace, had ingredients which I mixed in my own way with my mentor, of course, Ahmed Shukri. But before I learn what is the exact flow, I'm glad I didn't learn it. Then the speech went up in a very unique structure that I felt was useful. So be innovative in your structure. Be innovative. Don't stick to one way. Yes, you have to consider what is powerful and you put it wherever it is. When it comes to professional presentations, of course, I tell people be more careful. Innovative has its place, but of course you need to stick. So how do I do this also? I can give you a small gift quickly. By the way, all TED Talks are not the same, but they have critical ingredients in common if you check them, all right? So in my program, Mess to Message, there are 5 steps. I can give you those steps right now. How to be, okay, by the way, Chris Anderson, the founder, co-founder of TED, says there's no one way to a great talk, all right? So Mess to Message, I give 5 steps to reaching to your impactful speaking, especially in the professional world, okay? These steps are as follows: strength, significance, substance, story, and signature speech. So strength is who you are meant to serve. First, we discover who are the people who will listen to you, your target audience. Significance, where are you strongest to help them? Substance, substance/solution. What is the solution you as a speaker provide for the industry before you speak to them? You have to have a solution, solid solution, and it's unique. Then Why will the world listen to you? We will work on that story. And finally, the structure is in the signature speech, all right? For more information, you can, of course, approach me. The final one, practice what I preach. If I practice what I preach, I cannot emphasize on this more, but I was coaching a female executive years ago on some specific topic, and part of it was holistic women empowerment coaching, and part of it was public speaking. Some of the topics within the bundle, I had less practice with them, okay? By nature, I don't practice them, but I know them, I can teach, I can coach. And when I finished the coaching journey with her, I asked her a very honest question, and she gave me a very honest, painful answer. I told her, how did you find the coaching? She said, basic. She said, basic. I still remember this. Except the public speaking part, it was wow. The public speaking part is something I teach, I do, I coach, I learn every day. It's my life, it's my DNA. So when I practice something, people will feel the impact. Of course, the other parts I took a plan to empower myself even more. And I finish with this quote, of course, which my favorite quote, said by none other than Mohammed Shukri. I'd rather live my speech and not give it than give my speech and not live it. These are the 5 top things you do to bring more impact to your speech. I wish you all the best, and thank you, and back to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, our live speaker, DTA Mohammed Shukri, for the amazing presentation actually you shared with us. Each time we see you presenting, we learn from it. And now for the time being, I would like to thank Toastmaster Salma Sheikho. She's none other than the winner speaker for me. She's amazing, and she's today supporting us with, as a timer. I would ask all the panelists to pin her once their speech starts. She's from Injaz Club, Injaz Toastmasters Club, a dynamic lady. She's amazing on stage. Each time she's very dynamic, actually. The second question for today for you, if you'd like to answer, is write at least 3 things you have learned from last year, and we would love to carry them with you in 2026. And now let's move back to our second panelist, to Bat Club, and he is none other than our CGD District 20 DTM Abdullah Madan. He is a person who enjoys communicating, speaking, and building relationship with others. He's very active, actually, and this is why he joined Toastmasters. In the past 2 years, DTM Abdullah Madan held the positions of Division Director D and Area 16 Director and the President of Injaz Bahrain Toastmasters Club. Outside Toastmasters, DTM Abdullah is a graduate of chemical engineering from the University of Bahrain, and he enjoys helping and supporting students in conquering the challenges of their educational journey. You are most welcome, our CGD DTM Abdullah Madan, and with your speech title or your presentation, evaluate with insight. Don't forget to pin the speaker and our amazing audience for today, our guests and members. I remind you to send me your questions for the panelists because we will ask them at the end of their presentations. The floor is yours. Let's all give him a big warm of applause. The floor is yours, DTM Abdullah.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Widad. Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, it is.
All right. So today I'll be discussing something very dear and near to my heart. Ever since I joined Toastmasters, I really enjoy doing this all the time. Apart from speaking, this is what I really feel that was really helpful for me in my speaking journey. Evaluation was not just evaluating others and helping them become better speakers. It's also helping you become a better speaker. So the more you evaluate, the better you become at speaking. The better you speak, the more you get better at evaluating. And this is how it goes, the relationship between evaluation and speaking. So today, you'll walk out from this presentation knowing the main things that really helped me become a better evaluator, and hopefully you will gain a few insights about evaluation here. So let me ask you this question, and I would ask you to kindly participate. Why do you think constructive feedback for not just evaluating a speaker, evaluation in general, whether you are at work, whether you are at your house, with your family, with your friends, why do you feel evaluation is important?
To possibly cover the blind spots.
Cover the blind spots. Nobody's perfect and need feedback to grow. Okay, that's it. We have 35 people here. Okay, it's what helps us improve. All right. Most of us focused on to help us improve and grow. All right. Now let me ask you this. So, have you ever received a horrible feedback from your boss, from your mentors, from an evaluator, from a stranger? Kindly type in the chat 100%. I received destructive feedback, psychological warfare. We don't want psychological warfare. Yes, only outside Toastmasters, of course. Most of it's outside Toastmasters. Get it daily at home. Okay. Yes, and I ignored it. Okay. So let me ask you this. Have you given horrible feedback? Okay. Okay. I have had the Minnesota and okay. So we received horrible feedback. We might sometimes give horrible feedback. It happens. It happens. And it's all a part of the learning journey. And actually, I learned constructive feedback and how to give really good feedbacks from someone who gave a really horrible feedback to someone at Toastmasters, and this caused the person being evaluated to leave Toastmasters. And believe it or not, this was the mistake that helped my mentor become a champion at evaluation. I will not say who it is. Okay, so the second thing is how to deliver constructive feedback. This is the two main things that we want to focus on in this presentation. We came to know why it's important, so we have a purpose, and now we will know how to do it. So the purpose and the direction towards how to evaluate. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. So, how many of you evaluate like a sandwich? Okay, can I see the chat box? How many of you evaluate like a sandwich? Okay, yes, only Dr. Sahar. Sandwich +1. Okay. Toastmasters seem to be a bit hungry because we always use the sandwich method. Isn't that right, Abdullah Abandi? All right. The sandwich method. All of us know the sandwich method. There is just one thing that I want to highlight. We know that we start with giving positive feedback at the beginning and then giving constructive feedback. And just in case our constructive feedback was a little bit harsh, we also give some positive feedback at the end to cover up the mess that we did during the constructive feedback. The thing is about positive feedback. When we start saying positive feedback, DTM Shukri, lying in speeches is not only done in speeches. Lying is also done in giving positive feedback. Now, just write in the comments if you have whitewashed someone so much in his evaluation and buttered them up. Toastmaster XYZ, you are the next world champion of public speaking. Okay? Okay. Positive feedback. Okay? So positive feedback, yeah, even if that someone was me. Even if that someone was me. I've done it. So saying positive feedback means what was actually good in the speech that the speaker should keep. Not what was not in the speech and the speaker should have. That's a constructive feedback. So basically, you're saying things that did not happen and giving credit for the speaker. So that's not positive feedback. Positive feedback is what the speaker already has and what's really good. This is positive feedback. And then moving to the constructive feedback, what could the speaker do better? And then coming back again to the positive feedback. So this is the evaluation sandwich technique that is used by Toastmasters, and you can use it anywhere out of Toastmasters. And just to make sure that you don't forget about one thing, there's one thing that I did not mention about the evaluation sandwich technique, and you will lose marks for it in the contest if you did not do it. What's it? Can you open the mic, write in the comments? Summary. Any other thoughts? Okay. It's the summary. So summarizing, the evaluation carries 15 marks in the judging ballot. So when you evaluate like a sandwich, you give everything, and at the end you don't summarize, assuming that you have achieved 100% in everything, you will only achieve 85 marks. You don't summarize, you lose 15 marks. So summarizing is, and you just say at the end, in summary, Toastmaster XYZ, I felt that your speech has these positive points. To improve yourself, kindly take into consideration the things that I have mentioned for you, and they are this and this. Point number one, point number two, without going further into details. And summarizing your evaluation means that whatever you have said beforehand is just what you say in the summary, but in a shorter way. You don't add new things in the summary. All right? So summarizing the evaluation. Now we'll move to the governing principle of evaluation, in my humble opinion. So evaluation, people tend to focus on the negative, what someone is not really good at, rather than what they are good at. When I start focusing on my strength points and improving them, I will gain much more compared to focusing on what I am bad at. You cannot say for someone who is running track and field, someone who is running marathons, you are weak at bodybuilding. When they start leaving what they're good at and start going to bodybuilding, they won't be able to gain a lot. So focusing on what they're good at. And this is why positive feedback is really important. It's really important to mention what someone did really well so that they can keep it and improve upon it. Okay? So this is the governing principle of evaluation. Focus on the good more than the bad or what needs improvement. Let me open the comment section. My fourth stable topic, speech. My evaluator was evaluating what he could see. Less eye contact because he could not understand me. Okay. Yes, should say the good things first. Evaluation to make the speaker love what we do. Exactly. Toastmaster Layla, that's exactly right. You say what's good so that they can get attracted and listen. Once they feel that we are friendly, then they will start accepting any constructive feedback. That's totally right. Summary is like a toothpick. Okay, I always say the truth. Thank God. Thank God. We need truthful evaluators. Okay. So constructive feedback. This is constructive feedback. And it's divided into two main parts. What do you say during the constructive feedback? Okay? And second thing is how you say the constructive feedback. If your evaluation and what you said, the points that you have mentioned are really good, you say them in a bad way, that person will not accept it. Will not accept it at all. Now, my mentor said for me once, and when I say my mentor, it's not DTM Khalid, so that you don't get suspicious that it's DTM Khalid, it's someone else, but I would not mention his name. Okay, he noticed that someone was not good at vocal variety. You know what he did? He went on a whiteboard and drew a straight line. He said, Mahmoud, this is how your voice is throughout the speech. Flat. And that person did not accept it at all. And he did not come to Toastmasters again. See, this is the how you say it will really affect a lot. So don't just really fall into the trap of just ignore how I said it. Just focus on what's important. No, what and how. All right. Let's open the comment section. Okay. Okay. Nothing. Anyways. So what do we say? I divided it and made it like a mathematical equation because I love math. So this is how I tend to understand things easier with numbers. So the problem and the solution. Okay? So when you say constructive feedback, you start stating what is the problem. Okay? This speaker has an issue with vocal variety. Okay? But you know what's the thing that's missing is giving him a solution. You cannot go to a doctor that will give you what's wrong with your health without him giving you a medicine. You'll say that this doctor is not good. So state the problem clearly and then give them a solution that they can implement immediately. Easy as that. Problem, solution. Okay? So what do we say? What do we actually evaluate? What do we include in the constructive feedback? Or even this could be applicable even to the positive feedback. So content and delivery. We focus on two main things, which are content and delivery. During the constructive feedback, we give 1 point, preferably 1 point related to content and the other related to delivery. So what could be something that we could put into the content or delivery? So can I see your interaction in the comment section, or even in, if you want to open the mic? You do not love math, sorry. Next, I brought an example about doctors. Content, all of what DTM Shukri said. Okay. What about the delivery? What about the delivery? Feel free to open your mics.
That flat line of your first mentor. Vocal variety.
Yeah. We say we provide safe environment. Maybe they are experimenting. We need to try to understand the reasons so we can empathize. This is why I prefer to contact the speaker before to understand what they are looking for. Yes, exactly. You need to understand the objective of what the speaker needs to have and what he wants to get evaluated upon as well. Body language, use of stage. Okay. So content and delivery. Two different things. So in the content, we start focusing on the message, how impactful the message was, for example, storytelling. As DTM Shukri said, storytelling, if you are missing storytelling in your speech, you are missing a lot. The last one, what's WIIFM?
What's in it for me?
What's in it for me? So why am I here and listening to you? What will I get after your speech? After I leave your speech, what is the thing that I gained that I took back home? What's in it for me? Delivery is body language, vocal variety, facial expressions, etc. What I've noticed during the past years is that during evaluation, when someone gives an evaluation, I notice that most of the points of improvement are because of are on the delivery part and not the content. And the thing is, it's easier to give points of improvement on delivery because these are things that we actually see with our eyes and also hear with our ears. But when it comes to content, it's only something that we hear. We hear the thing that has been written. So it's much easier to really notice the delivery rather than the content. But we need to we need to challenge ourselves more to give 1 point related to content and the other point related to the delivery. Okay? So this is what to say. The other thing is how to say it. Okay, so have you hated listening to feedback? Okay, let me ask this question. Have you hated listening to feedback? Okay, no, no. If harsh, from the wrong person, not after joining Toastmaster. Okay. Okay, never. Okay, so for those who said if harsh, then most probably they started using negative language. Okay, so when we come to say feedback, we avoid saying negative words, and I'll come to that in a moment. And once you start stopping or not using negative word, the speaker will listen to you even further. Okay? So these are some of the things that I really hate listening to. I swear I hate listening to these words. The first thing is when someone says, my speaker, why do you think using the word my speaker is wrong? Okay, still wait. We don't own the speaker. You see, in Toastmasters, I hear this a lot. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I am having the privilege of evaluating my speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my mouse and this is my speaker. We don't own the speaker. The speaker is not our property. Instead, we are going to say Toastmaster XYZ. Use their name. Today, I'm having the privilege of evaluating DTM Khalid Abdullah. So this is what I like to hear. We felt. Sometimes while we are evaluating, we say we felt. And sometimes the evaluator is a little bit negative in his language. We felt bored throughout your speech. You know what the audience will say? We did not say that. That's your words. Don't ever put us into this. It's your own words and your own thoughts. Instead, evaluation is solely your opinion. I felt your speech is so and so. I felt. You should, Toastmaster XYZ, you should, and you point with the finger as well. Khalas, game over. You should. Shoulding the speaker is a really bad habit. Instead, we could say, I would recommend. Let me open the comment section. Let me see. Many times we don't remember the name of the speaker, especially in contests. Toastmaster Farook, he could say, today I'm evaluating the target speaker for today. And he's attempting this, I would say, speech project, which is having an objective of so and so, instead of saying my speaker.
Absolutely. Just emphasizing your point here.
Yeah.
Why people resort to the fallback technique of my speaker.
Yeah.
Because that's how they learned it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I would recommend. Now, moving to the next one. This is one of the pitfalls as well. Repeating the speech. Today, DTM Shukri started with saying his journey in Alba, and then he moved into his journey as a speaker, and then he moved to the moment he joined Toastmasters, and repeating the speech. We have just heard the speech, and DTM Shukri said it's much better than you. Why do you repeat the speech and torture us? Instead, just summarize. Be like a newscaster. Be like a newscaster. Say the main headlines. Okay? And again, this is another problem. Becoming the speaker. Becoming the speaker is another issue. Today, DTM Mohammed Shukri mentioned his journey in Alba. And I myself, I was an employee in Alba, and I remember those days. No, no, don't become the speaker. Today the lights is on the speaker, DTM Shukri. The lights is not on you as an evaluator. Today you are here only to provide help, only to provide guidance. Don't become the speaker. Don't say your story in the evaluation. Just provide help. Okay. Now we'll move to what if scenarios. What if scenarios? We have two scenarios. What if the speaker you are evaluating is much more experienced than you? Do you know the time where I was in Krypton Advanced Toastmaster Club, when it was called Krypton Advanced Toastmaster Club, they told me to evaluate DTM Khalid and I was scared to death. I was just new to Toastmasters, maybe 1 year, and they're telling me to evaluate my mentor. How scary is that? And I didn't know how to put one word over the other. But at the end of the day, when I started evaluating him, I was so focused that I got 1 point of improvement. And here is where we improve as evaluators. I felt that I improved a lot as an evaluator when I evaluated someone much better than me, and he made me focus a lot. Let me open the comment section. Okay. Thankfully, evaluations to otherwise some evaluate. Oh, DTM Farook. I had the word from the God. I had this word from the God. DTM Khalid, yes. I was scared to evaluate him and still scared sometimes, but could do. Okay. Timer is telling me that I'm at 27 minutes. I'm finishing now. Second scenario is, what if you are evaluating a beginner? So you are evaluating a beginner that's doing his icebreaker. He's scared to death. He's freezing. He's shivering. He's sweating. And there is probably nothing to compliment about his speech, and it's all points of improvement. And here is where we again improve as evaluators. You have to focus fully to see what's good in all that mess. So this is how we improve as evaluators in both scenarios. Okay, the key takeaways. You thought that you came here to learn about evaluation, but no, you didn't know only how to evaluate. You learned also how to structure a speech, because evaluation is also a structure. The sandwich method, the summary, the way you say things. So structuring a speech is also a part of evaluation. And you will also deliver almost an impromptu speech. You did not prepare for this a while ago. It's only in the meeting. So this is why, ladies and gentlemen, you don't only learn about evaluation. You also learn about speaking. The better you are as a speaker, the better you will become as an evaluator. The better you become as an evaluator, the better you will become as a speaker. And this was it, ladies and gentlemen. It was a privilege to give this workshop, and back to you, Master of Ceremonies.
Thank you very much, DTM Abdullah Madan, Mr. CGT, for this really fruitful presentation. I actually learned a lot. We should not talk about ourselves if we are evaluating. This is something I learned from you. Before they told me, say something about yourself within the speech. So thank you for the nice notice. As I said before, I'm waiting for your questions. You can share them either in public in the chat box or privately to me. Thank you, Toastmaster Salma, for reminding him of the time. And now let's move to our second speaker, panelist. Well, what can I say about him? He's our guest today, but his introduction is really amazing. It took me some time to read it. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to meet the man of the hour, Abdullah Abandi. Abdullah has over just a second, has over 30 years of professional experience in Aramco, mostly spent in the HR. With a career that long, he's seen more office drama than a daytime soap opera. He is now as a professional speaker, trainer, and coach serving both individuals and organizations. And mashallah, he has lots of certifications in training, consulting, public speaking, and lots of things. Abdullah is just a master of the boardroom. He is also champion of the stage with an award-winning knack of humor. He's left audience in stitches from Orlando, USA, India to Saudi Arabia and other GCC countries in 2012. He came as the first runner-up winner in the semifinals in Toastmasters International World Public Speaking Championship in Orlando, Florida. Now, finals in now here the icing on the cake. That win ranked him as one of the top 18 Toastmaster speakers in the world in 2012. He also, under his belt, he has bagged for 4 first-place titles in humorous speaking at district level. And as if awards and accolades in the humor world were not enough, he went to author his exciting and funny book titled The Humor RX for Speakers, which is the title of his presentation for today, 77 tips to make them laugh. I would not want to waste the opportunity to snag a copy of the book, still more on authoring. He's also co-author of 2 books, The DNA of Development and On Startups. So Toastmaster Abdullah is happily married, that's according to his wife, and he's a father of 4 wonderful children. They are his pride, his joy, and apparently the reason behind receding hairline. Please join me in welcoming Toastmaster Abdullah Abandi. You are on the stage. The floor is yours. Let's give him a big round of applause. I'm curious and interested to hear more from you.
Thank you.
Don't forget to pin the timer, please. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Widad, for that Toastmaster, Widad, for that fairy tale introduction. I'm happy. I'm really happy to be joining your old is gold or old is silver. It could be sometimes old is bold. So whatever you really wish to call it, I'm okay with that. You know. But I really miss Toastmasters. I haven't been there for quite a long time. For years, I'm only visiting from time to time. And I must say, I also miss all those rituals that we go through, or you go through in meetings. Like just a few months after joining Toastmasters, I got so hooked on everything. I didn't realize that until like one night, I was shaken off my sleep by my wife. She said, wake up, wake up. I said, what's the matter? She said, I can't get any sleep. I said, why can't you? She said, you've been clapping all night. Any case, and this is not the first time she said. So I really miss those days. Okay, let me share my screen because we really need to be serious, aren't we? Where is my screen? This is my screen. Sorry, hang on a second. This is sometimes an issue. Also share system audio.
This part of the session, I'm just wondering.
Well, maybe we will count it as that. Well, so I'm saying share screen.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm getting there. You see all this bold, so just hang in there. All right. So can you see?
I can see
my
myself,
screen?
yes.
You can see
Yes.
yourself? Can you
Yes,
see my
yes.
screen?
And I can see now your screen.
Thank you so much. Okay. So let's get a little serious, okay? Shall we? Today I'll be sharing with you my experience with humor, what it is, how it works, and how to make it effective. But let me just, to start with, let me clear something right of your head. There is this myth about telling humor that says only those who are naturally funny can say funny things. And I keep hearing some speakers say, I can't tell jokes, and humor is not in me. Sometimes someone would tell me, Abandi, you were born with a funny bone, or Abandi, or you're naturally funny. And I say, no, I'm not. I've had my fair share of horrible experiences. Okay, actually, on my first attempt at humor many years ago, no one laughed. The entire 7-minute speech, no one laughed. Well, in fairness to me, there was one who kept laughing throughout the speech. I found out later he was reading jokes on his mobile. But we are not really born, we're not really born laughing, are we? So please abolish this myth from your mind totally. It is true that some people may be naturally funny, but that doesn't mean that those who aren't can't make people laugh. Humor is just like any other skill. It can be learned by anyone, and it's easy once we understand humor itself and how it works. Now, what is the humor RX? You may ask, what is the humor RX? The humor RX is a basic but powerful prescription to tell humor from the stage. It is a process. And this process is fed by some forms of humor on one side, and on the other side, it is supported by some elements that make humor powerful and effective. It is highly important that we really understand this process. Now let's understand it, okay? Let me just go through some what I think is the lifeblood of humor, and they can be summed up in 3 basic forms or definition. The first form is mismatch. And humor is nothing but a trick played on your mind. You see, the human brain organizes information into patterns. When we hear something that does not match the pattern we have stored in our mind, we get a shock. This shock happens because there is a mismatch between what we expect and what we experience. And I use this as an example. You know, in the years ago, I was fascinated by designer handbags. I bought several of them. Naturally, not for me. Okay. I used to be fascinated, and I know the ladies here in the room probably share with me that fascination, and you love them, and you would pay a fortune to get one. Why? Because you trust their quality and authenticity, and you trust the brand name. You trust names like Louis Vuitton, don't you? You trust Gucci. You trust Fendi. You trust Abandi. Well, I'm still working on that brand. Just hang in there, okay? But you see, the brain here has already classified designer names and associated them with handbags. When out of the blue you hear the name Abandi, you say, wait a minute, I don't have Abandi stored as a brand name. Maybe as a skinny, frail guy, yes. So your mental pattern was actually disturbed or broken. There was a mismatch. You expected a brand name, but you ended up with a worthless Abandi. So when your expectation is crushed, you got a shock and you laugh. That's one form or definition of humor. Another form, which is also used extensively to stimulate laughter, is exaggeration. If you watch comedy sitcoms, you will find lots of exaggerated situations in there. So what is exaggeration? It is when you take a fact or a thought and stretch it way out of proportion, sometimes even beyond belief or imagination. And as you can tell from my skinny bone or bony face, maybe not just the face, it's clear that I have a skinny build and I struggle with it. I struggle with it, especially on windy days. Yeah, it was extremely windy the other day, and I was struggling to walk. One step forward, one step backward, one step back, forward, and one step backward, and I was still inside the house. Well, here in this story, I take a truth about myself and I stretch it beyond belief. It's true that I'm skinny and I do find it difficult to walk on windy days, but inside the house, that is the exaggerated part. So if one day you happen to spot me walking on a windy day, just come hold me by the hand, will you? So if you have a thought, a truth, or even part of a truth, ask yourself a couple of questions. What happens if I exaggerate it? How can I exaggerate it? The minute you think this way, ideas will start creeping into your mind. Now, the peak of humor is when you have a clever mixture of the aha and the ha-ha. And what I mean by the aha is the surprise side of it, and the ha-ha is the funny bit. Some say that the humor is surprise, okay? But that is only partly true. If it is not combined with a funny twist, laughter will not come out as strong. When I was building my house early in the 2000s, I was borrowing, when you build a house in this part of the world, it takes out all your cash, all your savings. So I was borrowing like crazy, from friends, from colleagues, from family members, even sometimes from people in the street. Okay, so naturally I was low on cash, and I was trying to run away from all the creditors that chased me for their money. But finally, years later, a friend of mine saw me in the morning, and he signaled to me, hey, Abdullah, hey. So he came rushing to me and he said, listen, Abdullah, it's been 10 years since you borrowed from me that 10,000 riyals. How about if I meet you halfway? I'm ready to forget about half of what you owe me. I said, wonderful. I'm ready to forget the other half. If you examine this story, when my friend offered to give me a 50% discount on the loan, that was the aha or surprise moment. Then came the ha-ha, which is found in the twist embedded in the reply. Wonderful. I'm ready to forget the other half. This mixture, if delivered well, normally creates a burst of laughter. If you think of it, it is also a disturbing pattern. You expected my friend is getting 50% back, but that expectation just went in thin air. It was totally shattered. Now, there you have them, according to yours truly. According to me, these are the three basic forms of humor: mismatch, exaggeration, and the aha, ha ha process. You will find that most humor stories, by the way, include one or a combination of these three forms. Now, if you noticed while I was telling those stories, I have followed a certain process to arrive to a laugh. I mean, if there was one. It is important to understand this process. As I mentioned, humor is a trick played on the mind. In order to play that trick, I need first to set the audience up. I take you with me for a ride. And I take you all along in that ride, and suddenly I switch direction. And that sharp or swift turn is caused by or produced by the punchline, which triggers laughter. But the punchline, actually, wait till you get this, but the punchline can't do anything. It needs help to be funny and successful. And it is normally preceded by what I call the nudge. The nudge is something that pushes. It is the trigger that enables the punchline to be. It is normally a short line or phrase, sometimes just a word like Fendi in the handbag story. In the creditor story, the phrase "I am ready to forget half of which you owe me," that's the nudge in there. So without it, the joke will not be born. So next time you develop a funny story, think about the elements in this process. Examine your story and see if you have followed that exact process. Now, this process is really powerful, but how do we make it more powerful and effective? I will share with you 5 ways to do that. Here are the 5 ways. We'll talk about setup, punchline, timing, audience, and self-expression. Now, setup, it is the base of any funny story. Think of yourself, I want you just now to put on your hat as a magician. Think of yourself as a magician. You've got your toolbox to set up your audience towards a wow. A good setup would lead to a big laugh. So to be effective, the setup needs to be as short as possible, organized and unrevealing. You see, you can lose your audience if the setup is long and winding. A magician produces the trick fairly quickly. You need to do the same. Don't forget, it's only a 7-minute speech. So you can also lose them if the bits of information you're sharing are not deliberately organized in a certain sequence. If you say something between the nudge, for example, and the punchline, you could kill the punchline. The sequence Fendi, Gucci, Abandi, if disturbed by anything in between, it will not work. And the worst you can do is to say something that would reveal or impact your punchline. Let's say that in my designer handbag story, I said, I know you don't trust my name, but you trust names like Louis Vuitton, don't you? You trust Gucci, you trust Fendi, you trust Abandi. Here, the impact of the punchline would be diluted because I already gave you a hint to the punchline in a way I have revealed or leaked, the punchline to you. And that's not good. Laughter will be diluted in that case. Let's move to the punchline, which is the climax of any funny story. So it needs to be short, a word or a few, or even a short phrase. And it needs to be well placed. Normally, you will find that punchline at the end of the joke or at the end of the story to be powerful. But it's extremely important also that your punchline is heard by the audience. Because guess what? If the audience cannot hear your punchline, that means the absence of laughter. I mean, if it was good and nobody was heard your punchline, it just goes in thin air. So try to project your voice audibly and avoid dropping it at the end of a punchline. So you need to be audible. The punchline would also be more powerful if it breaks a pattern. You know, I mentioned that, you know, the brain organizes things into patterns. So the punchline, if it breaks a pattern in your audience's head, as in the story of the designer handbag, for example, the Gucci, Fendi, Abandi. Gucci, Fendi, Abandi. So that's a break of the pattern in that story. But the most important thing about the punchline is that you need to say it with a sense of closing. Ta-da! This is it. I have arrived. Many speakers miss this and miss to pause for finality. Example, let me just give you an example from another speech. In a speech about doctors, I came to a conclusion and said, doctors sometimes don't make any sense. So we try to stay away from them as much as possible. Take an apple a day. They say it keeps the doctor away. Myself, I use garlic. It keeps everyone away. That's what I mean by a sense of closing. Actually, when you close the joke, you know that the joke is coming. The audience needs to know this is the punchline. Another important element is timing. This is very crucial for delivery. Timing can make or break any funny story, even if it's well constructed, well organized, and has a clear, funny punchline. If timing is not right, then that story could break. So timing has to do with your rhythm. It has to do with your rhythm. What do I mean by rhythm? Is what you go over very quickly, what you go over in moderate speed, and what you say slowly for impact. It's about building momentum, actually, when you tell your story. That includes what you accentuate and what you don't. But most importantly is when, where, and how long you pause in your story. In stand-up, they refer to this pause as a beat or beats. The beat takes the length maybe of saying like 1001. That's a beat, one beat. The pause or beat is needed before and after the punchline. I said, wonderful. I'm ready to forget the other half. The reason to pause after the punchline, of course, is to leave room for laughter. If your joke is funny, if your story is funny, that leaves room for people to laugh, which is also highly important. By the way, sometimes you may need to pause for more than one beat. For example, in the garlic joke, maybe it was like a couple of beats, like 2 seconds pause in there. But many times, the difference between a weak and a powerful punchline is in the pause. What about your audience? I mean, we talk about audience a lot in speaking, naturally, because we are speaking to an audience. I was listening to a speaker once. He was English, and I have nothing against the English, by the way. He was talking about puns, and he was right in Bahrain. Puns is play on words. And the audience, we were predominantly from Bahrain, from Saudi, maybe a bit from India. And we could not, the result was like, we could not understand what he was talking about. Most of his puns just went over people's heads. We could not relate to them. You see, that gets laughed at. What gets laughed at in London may not get laughed at in India or Saudi Arabia or Bahrain, humor needs to be relatable to the audience. There are many other factors that we also need to consider when we tell humor, such as ethnicity, culture, education, professions, gender, and you name it. You want your humor to be powerful, you need to adapt, refine, or even change your stories depending on the kind of audience you're talking to. I mean, if you are telling a story about a Walkman to a young audience, they will not understand what you're talking about. If you remember in the old days, I mean, if you are like me, old is bold, we had a Walkman. When we go out walking, we have that Walkman and we play songs through cassettes and all that. No one understands what a Walkman is. So when you go to a young audience, you don't want to use a Walkman as a story. So also the clapping story, if you remember the story at the beginning when I said about Toastmasters. If I tell this to a non-Toastmaster audience, I have to refine it and put more context into it. And finally, let's talk about expression. This is self-expression. What you say matters. And I think Shukri and also Abdullah Madan alluded to how we say things, which matters a lot in humor. Many times the humor does not really come across because it's not understandable by the audience, or it's lifeless. For example, when I tell the windy day joke, I act it out, as you've seen. But in the video, which I hope you can see it in some other time, I acted out, and I was animating my expressions when I say one step forward, one step backward, one step forward, one step backward, and I was still inside the house. So in this story, there is emotion, there is emphasis, there is gestures, voice intonation, facial expressions, and there is performance. And there is performance. All these elements, if you put them all together, they put life and energy into your story. Now, you also need to have a clear diction when you tell your story. You don't want someone in the audience to turn to his neighbor or her neighbor and say, what did he say? What did she say? This, you can't afford to happen in a humorous speech. You need the words to come out of your mouth clearly. If your audience miss a part or even a word, especially in the punchline or close to it, you will miss laughter. Delivering your story the way it should be said with animation, feelings and all of that, gives you that presence. You become present on the stage. You become really present. In short, presence is about feeling and owning the stage. This is how you really own the stage. So the bottom line, your humor will go a long way if you spend sufficient time finding the best way to say your story with clear diction. Now, since we are talking about humor speaking in Toastmasters, we are talking about producing as many laughs as possible in a speech, like in a max of 7 minutes. Maybe you have like 30 seconds in there, but I would take that 30 seconds because if you have good material, then some of your time will go into laughs and claps and things like this. So here's how I see audience reaction. It is progressive, and each counts for points as you go along. So for example, if no one laughs, like a pin drop, then that's a swallow it type. It's a 0 point. Then there is that smile or subtle laugh and it's amusing, you get 1 point. You go up a little bit, audible laugh, it's funny, you get 2 points. It's an intense laugh, it's very funny, you get 3 points. And if it's hilarious, it's roaring laugh and you get a clap, then you get 4 points. In my assessment, using my previous experience, you could place in a humorous speech contest if you have the following score. And this is my own assessment. And it depends on who are the speakers on that day and how good they are. Okay. So if you get, like, I'm not going to talk too much about the ones because they're not really, they don't bring too much into the assessment. But if you got like 10 twos, 10 threes, and 5 claps, you are very likely to place on that event. Basically, the more points you score from 2, 3, and 4, the better. Now, if I compare this, I want to compare this to a speech that won the district in 2008, right there in Bahrain, and it's titled Mission Impossible. I was looking at that speech, and this is the score on that speech. There were like 2 subtle laughs, 24 funnies, 16 very funny, and there were 10 claps, audience applause. That's very high. If you look at humorous speeches, you will find that this is very high. I think this is what we all should aim for, is this to produce as many laughs in as short time as 7 minutes. Okay, just keep this in mind. This is how judges score, but of course, which I'm going to come on, to this point here, is how you really construct and what criteria really help the judges make, announce winners in there. Okay. An award-winning or award-worthy humorous speech, I think, in my assessment, it needs to have a connected theme. It's not like something you stitch together from here and there sporadically. No, you will probably lose points in there. It has to be relatable humor. Your audience needs to relate to what you're saying. I mean, don't come and tell me scientific discoveries and all the audience, they're not scientists in there. They cannot relate to what you're talking about. Strong punchlines. And these are the level of 3 and 4s I'm talking about. And how often you say these, how often you bring these also matters in judging. And I talk about quick fire. The payoff, it comes very quickly. So in a 7 minutes, if you can produce 30 laughs, I mean, you are probably there. You are probably going to be one of the winners, if not the top winner. Surprise packed. All these jokes, they need to come up with that aha moments to all the audience. And of course, robust delivery. I cannot speak more about delivery because it is in a humorous speech. It's about your presence, and you really need to have that robust delivery. And you need to have some original composition. And what do I mean? Let me just mention that I'm not talking about totally word for word. This is original content. You might have heard an idea here, and you take that idea and you apply it to your story. You change all circumstances. You change even the happenings. You change what happens first and next, and you just mold it all the way so that it becomes your own story, but it serves your purpose. It serves your theme on that day. That's original composition. But no, taking something like verbatim from somewhere and sticking it in your speech, and I've seen that a lot. Okay, that to me is a no-no. And I've seen a lot of humor. And I've watched lots of comedy. Okay, I know when a line comes from somewhere else, because I've read a lot. I've got lots of books at home that help me with that. All right. Now, just very quickly, some people don't know where to start or don't know what to talk about. Here are just some ideas like common grounds between you and the audience, self-deprecation. Definitely, this is top to me. The more you talk about yourself, the more people can relate to your stories. There are social trends like applications. Everywhere you go, there are applications these days. There are challenges. What challenges you? What frustrates you? I mean, sometimes travel, family, and all that. These are all topics you can venture into. But what I want you really to avoid, and I think judges will probably deduct points if you do this, like you use put downs or offensive language and sarcasm, off color, bad jokes, and racial, religious, and teasing someone unless you know that someone and you have already agreed with that someone. So in summary, here it is. The humor RX, it is all about process. It is about setting up your audience, going to that punchline with a nudge. And this is all helped by the forms of humor, the mismatch, surprise, and exaggeration. And on the other side, the powerful element that gives humor more effectiveness is the setup, punchline, timing, audience, and expression. Do we have more time?
Time-wise, we are a bit behind. Yeah.
We are behind? Okay.
Yes. We'll have more time for the Q&A anyway. So.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So that tells it all from my side. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Abdullah, for this really amazing efforts that you presented with the profound knowledge that you shared with us based on your experience as well. Thank you very much. Let's give him a big round of applause. And for the time being, let's move to our last but not least, our last panelist. He's none other than DT Farouk. He is chartered accountant by profession and public speaking by preference. He's a coach, trainer, consultant, and not speaker, an amazing speaker, according to me. Represents Morphosis Coaching in Sri Lanka, a global organization specializing in people development, member of clubs in District 20, 80, and 82, past president of Pinnacle Advanced Toastmasters Club, Sri Lanka, Bahrain Advanced Toastmasters Club in Bahrain. And he served his many clubs in all ExCom roles, mashallah. He also has served in area and division leadership roles, speech contest winner in all categories up to district level, enjoys being a mentor, a coach for aspiring public speakers. His aim in life is to leave behind useful knowledge that could benefit humanity, himself, and for eternity. Let's all cheer up for him. His title is Prepare to be Unprepared. Let's hear from him. A big round of applause. The floor is yours, DT Farhaz. I'm eager to hear from you like other panelists.
Thank you.
Don't
very
forget
much.
to pin the timer, please.
Yes. Good thing you reminded. I'm not going to rely on pinning because I'm very bad at pinning. I'm going to just keep my own time. That way, I will only have myself to blame if I go over time. See what I did there?
Yeah, the floor is yours. Let's get started.
All right. So, friends, we are going to learn to prepare to be unprepared, as they say. But before I get to that, let me just become big and show you what I really look like. This is what I really look like. But then that's not important. So let me just get out of the way and get on with the show. Friends, what does it mean to be ready for impromptu speeches? And why do we need to be ready for impromptu speaking for table topics, specifically in the Toastmasters context, but generally in terms of day-to-day living? Why do we need to be ready for impromptu speaking? The problem is this: if we aren't prepared, what usually may happen is we may end up looking like this when we hear a question that we don't know an answer to. But I am quite aware that we are living in this modern world where we have to be diverse and inclusive and all of that. So I actually put the picture of this beautiful lady also in the side. But then when I did only this, the children started shouting. So I had to actually put this guy's picture also in the middle. And when I did that, the infants started crowd shouting. So I put all four. Now I'm all fully covered with diversity, inclusion, and equity. Point is, regardless of our age or background or genders, whenever we hear a question which we are not prepared for, or this is probably how we are going to look. Now, are we going to be poster child for people who are doing impromptu speaking like this, or do we want to actually be ready? And that's the whole point of what we are trying to do today. So with that intention in mind, let's just clarify something. Let's reframe what impromptu actually means. We should get out of this thinking that impromptu means random. We should just get out of that. It's not random. Learning to be ready for impromptu speaking is something totally different than being ready for a random question. It is to learn structured thinking under pressure. That's what we really need to be getting ourselves ready to. Structured thinking under pressure. That's what being ready for impromptu speaking is all about. We need to learn to be structured thinkers under different scenarios. Now, in order to understand this a bit further, I would like to clarify certain myths and reality that we sometimes entertain, and I call this the CSC versus CSC formula, and you will see what I mean. CSC versus CSC, and it's down here. The reality is, to be ready, prepared for unprepared, we need to have clarity, we need to have structure, and we need to have confidence. That's the CSC that we should be working towards. But time and again, we forget those, and instead we concentrate on a different set of CSCs: cleverness, speed, and content. We think, oh, we're trying to be clever, we have to answer very fast, and it's the content that's important. Nothing wrong in these, don't get me wrong, but if we concentrate a bit on this side, clarity, structure, and confidence, friends, I think we would have made significant progress to being ready for impromptu speaking situations. So that's what I call the CSC versus CSC: clarity, structure, and confidence versus cleverness, speed, and content. And if we can work ourselves to be in this part of the equation, it generally works out better than trying to be in this part of the equation. So now that we have got that out of the way, let's look at what is our real fear when we talk about impromptu speaking. Is it the judges because they talk about contests, or is it the topic? Friends, good news. It's neither the topic nor the judges. None of these two. This is not our real fear. We think these are the fears. What will be the topic? Who will be the judges? Will they understand? Would they? No. Let's not get into this problem. Instead, my dear friends, the real fear that we should be worrying about, and which we actually do worry about subconsciously or consciously, is what am I going to say next? That's really the fear that we all have deep down inside, whether it is table topics or whether it is my wife asking me that weird, unplanned question when I turn up half an hour after the time that I told her I will get home. What am I going to say next? That's the real fear. And in my wife's questions case, the topic is her question and the judge is my wife. That's not the problem. The problem is, what am I going to say? What's the answer that I'm going to give her to the questions she raised? That's the real fear. And friends, if we can figure this out, I guess more often than not, we will be reasonably prepared and ready for being good impromptu or table topic speakers. So now let's quickly dive in. Now that that theoretical aspect has been clarified, let's try to dive in to see what we should be trying to do. Now, first step, we have to listen. We have to practice, train ourselves to be proper listeners, to be active listeners, listen with intent. That's crucial. Only then, when we are put in a situation, when a question is asked, when we are on the spot, will we listen. It's just like learning to speak, learning to be a goalkeeper in football, learning to run, learning to cook. We need to practice. And if we keep practicing, we'll get better at it. So step number 1, please get your listening skills sorted. Step number 2, learn to pause, because after we listen to a topic, rather than immediately start blabbering something, if we do a purposeful, intentional pause, that will first off give us an opportunity to obviously think about the answer that we're going to give. But secondly, and more importantly, it gives a lot of confidence in the eyes of the audience about what we are going to say. And the audience will say, you know what, this guy looks confident. He's probably going to say something useful. So let us practice the art of pausing. And believe me, this pausing doesn't have to be long drawn out, 3 to 5 seconds. That's it. I'll talk a bit more about this as we go along, but let's learn to pause, because that's the second thing we need to actually do. The third thing we need to do, my dear friends, is actually we need to learn to why. The reason this is important is because, remember, now we have listened, we have done the pause, we have given confidence. Now is the time to quickly start establishing and cementing that relationship that we as speaker are trying to make with the audience. And a smile is usually a very easy, simple way to get that done. And once again, if we don't practice the smile, we will not be smiling. Just imagine if I were to come and talk to you with this face. This is better, isn't it? I know I don't look all that great, but at least the least I can do is try to make myself look slightly better by smiling. And let's try to do that. So let's practice to smile, because that is important. And the smile eases tension between yourselves, within yourself, as well as between you and the audience, and therefore quickly starts getting that connection. And the fourth thing that we need to do is we need to get into that speaker's stance. Stand in the middle of the stage, look at everybody, do the pause, do the smile, and get that entire control. Get the entire audience to focus on us, and we become that center of attention before we start speaking. And friends, this entire thing, all of this, listen, pause, smile, stance, if we have practiced it well, believe me, takes all of 3 to 5 seconds, maybe 6 seconds at the most. That's it. And you have done step number 1 really well. So my first advice, please, let's practice these 4 important steps. And if we can keep doing it, at some stage, we will get very good at it. So that's tip number 1. Now, once that is sorted out, we obviously have to now start talking, because if we don't say anything, we're not going to get any points. What are the judges looking for? Please remember the first few slides that I was talking about. The judges are looking for structured thinking. That's what they are looking for. So they are looking for content, of course. We need to say something, but they are looking for an organized, a structured manner in which it will be delivered. And the other keyword is, how is it going to be delivered? These are the 3 things the judges are going to look for.